All right, we'll give it a couple minutes. Anybody have any questions? Anything they want to ask before we start? We'll start at 2:05.
Yeah, Sean. So, um, the panel that you participated in the other day, they
It was great,
focused
by the
more
way.
on.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, no worries. I was thinking about it though. They were talking about cash versus credit, and the younger generation, or that at least those panelists seem to think that cash was better than credit. And I know that there's different ways to approach this, your financial freedom. But can you speak a little bit about that and just kind of, um, I want to understand the rationale behind that.
Behind what? Cash versus
Behind
credit or credit versus
that,
cash?
thinking that cash is a better route as opposed to credit.
Well, they're from, like you said, the younger generation, and they haven't realized the power of credit and how it can allow you to work a dollar in three different ways, meaning that, like for example, I'm applying for a refinance. If I was paying everything, everything went to my credit report and how well I pay my bills on time and those sort of things. And if I didn't have credit, I wasn't using credit actively, I probably wouldn't have got approved for the mortgage. If you're living an all cash life, it's hard to grow. It's hard to grow. It's hard to reach the financial success that we all want, because credit allows you to build relationships and allows you to extend your line, your reach, meaning it allows you to be able to obtain more money, to and like I know a young lady said there's all credit is bad, but that's also not true as well, because mortgages, good, investment properties, most of the time there's a mortgage associated with it. And your as long as you can have the revenue outweighs your expenses, meaning you can carry the debt, then to me it's good credit. So with using credit, especially even now with rewards, I travel for free practically, and I stay at hotels for free because I'm putting it all on credit card. I'm earning points, and I'm able to use that. And if not, even for us young people, you can use the points to reduce the amount you owe, like 5% cash back, meaning that for every $100 you spend, you get $5 back, and to reduce your bill. So I think most people that are experienced will tell you that credit is the way to go, as long as you can manage the debt. Debt management is the most important thing, and buying and putting good debt. Some people will accrue debt, but it's not good debt, it's bad debt.
So
So
why
but
cash?
the wealth mindset is good debt.
So why would they say cash then? What would be
Because
that?
I can't tell you the reason behind it. They didn't
Right.
explain it. And I think it's just probably a little lack of experience and understanding how really to remember. I teach generational wealth. I teach how to build
Right.
wealth, and it's a different mindset than just even teaching financial literacy or budgeting. You know,
And just
I just want
finally,
to
do you
get
think?
in here real quick with the question that she's asking. And one of the things you want to realize is there's more than one road to get to your destination. So we're teaching you that we live in a credit world, and credit is something you will be up against, and how to use it wisely. So there are other avenues of thought that say avoid credit at all costs. Now,
Right.
I'm not of that avenue. I understand what they say. I hear it. And so what I believe, and in everything you do, you have to take what works for you and use it. So I've used credit. When I was young, it clicked. I need credit. Why? I want to buy a brownstone. I bought my brownstone. I bought another brownstone. Then I bought another house. Then I bought another house, all on credit. So what's the end game though? What is the end game? The end game is to be debt free with no debt.
Yeah.
That's the end game. So my end game now is that though I'm not 100% debt free, my assets way outweigh my debts.
correct.
And I'm looking to be 100% debt free in the next 2 to 3 years, maybe sooner. But right now, I have enough cash to pay off every single mortgage I have. That's the end game. The end game is to use the leverage, like Sean is teaching us, in a wise way. Can you do it
Exactly.
without using leverage? Maybe. Maybe there's arguments and there's methods to do that. But like I said, I used leverage because I understood how to make it my benefit.
Exactly. And even to
And
go,
that's
go a little further, what Jeff is saying. So, right. So there's years when you're acquiring assets, you're building your portfolio, you're building up, and then there's years where now you want to, like, start paying off this debt that you've accrued, good debt, and hopefully your assets will outweigh them. So like I'm at the stage where I'm doing my last, I think, refinance, pulling out equity, and I'm going to buy 2 more buildings. And from my 1 building, I was able to pull out enough money to be able to buy 2 buildings. But after that, I'm in my 40s. I'm going to do like a 25-year mortgage and hopefully pay it off before my eyes close, and so I can give my children these properties that I have with 0 debt. So like I said, from the very beginning of every class, you're not only, when it comes to financial literacy and generational wealth, you have to manage in time, because time is your greatest asset. So Jeff's game is that he's at the point where his life, he's like, I'm 2-3 years away from paying everything off so I can pass these things on debt free. And that's why I'm going to say young people in your 20s and your 30s is when you start, where you're aggressive, because you can always have time to catch up with you. If Jeff was playing aggressively right now, buying properties, incurring all these mortgages and real estate, he could leave the next ones behind him with a whole ton of debt. And that's not building generational wealth. Jeff is on the generational wealth mindset. When he tells you he's trying to pay them off, because he wants his next generation, his 4 kids, not to have to go through the same struggle as him, to be able to have something debt free. And I think that's the mindset we, and Jeff and I, try to preach. I think if you want to live an all cash life and just live, I think it's somewhat of a selfish life. I think you have to understand that you're thinking beyond yourself. You're thinking for the next generation ahead. And Jeff and I have had many conversations, and we were always aligned without even knowing each other. And I think people that understand the wealth mindset and are thinking about the next generation will know that, hey, I'm going to leverage credit. I'm going to use credit to my best ability. And then I'm going to slowly check out and make sure that all my assets are at minimal debt. And then the next generation can take it from there and move forward. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I think it's great. I thank you guys for elaborating, and I think that with the, I'm thinking it has something to do with investments. Maybe I could be wrong. Why they think?
I'm not sure why. I was.
I'm gonna add. I'm gonna continue the conversation with them. But thank you guys so much.
And sometimes it's like sometimes culturally we just haven't been taught certain things. It's unfortunate, and I worked on Wall Street, so these principles and stuff that I picked up was people that I was around that have accumulated a lot of wealth. And if you look at the rich people that are wealthy, they all play the same game when it comes to leveraging debt. When it comes to managing and incurring debt, they're not going. The wealthy are not doing things cash only. I can guarantee you that they're not just paying everything cash. It's just not the way to which to become wealthy, to accumulate wealth.
Right, using other
even
money.
The famous book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, he tells you about buying properties, real estate. There's not one chapter in that book, and I've read in all of his teachings, where he talks about living only a cash-free life. It's just not practical.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with your philosophy and this philosophy that you're teaching. I just wanted to kind of understand, but I'm going to be continuing on with those workshops. So definitely would love you. I was wanting you to speak up, but I knew we were limited on time. But yeah. But I thank you so much for your insight.
No, thank you. All right, so let's begin today's class. We're 4 minutes late. So this is the final Sharei Shara. Thank you guys so much for participating and sticking around. And being part of once again working with Good Shepherd. And I thank you, Benjamin, as always, for having us back again. I think this was awesome. Although I've never met you guys physically, with except of Siri. I feel like I know you guys, and it's been a great run. So I appreciate you guys for sticking around, and Benjamin for having us back again. So the last class.
Thank you guys, Sean. Thank you for everything. This has been amazing. And thanks to everybody who showed up, who stuck with it. Glad to see you here.
All you guys that are part of it, enjoyed it. Thank Ben. He reaches out to me.
Yes.
And, we make it happen. So thank Benjamin. He's always kept us in his thoughts. So I appreciate you, Ben, as well. And I appreciate everybody that participated. So last class, attention to detail, no shame in your game. And that wraps up the program. So once again, the 5 principles are clean. We talked about credit for a few weeks. Then we talked about learning to live without 2 weeks ago. Last week, we talked about education. Today, once again, it's attention to detail and no shame in your game. And with attention to detail, we're talking about branding, okay? What is personal branding? And you know, the question is no longer if you have a personal brand, because we all have a personal brand, but if you choose to guide and cultivate that brand or let it be defined on your behalf. So what does this famous Shama Haide, a journalist, what is she trying to say by that? Can anybody help me out? What is the message she's driving home to that? Nobody's shy here. Come on. I don't need to, do I have to pick out people to help out? Okay, let me start with Diane. What is she saying?
Personally, I feel like what she's saying is like if you have your own personal brand and like if you love to sing like I do, you're gonna find a way to brand yourself and put yourself out there, whether it's your personal social media accounts or you making a YouTube channel or something or putting yourself out there. You're finding a way to let people know that, hey, you love to sing. This is what you do. It's not only a hobby, it's something that you enjoy to do.
Wow, that was beautiful. Exactly. So what happens if you're in social media and you're putting all these jokes up that are very explicit, you know, and you're putting all these things that somewhat can be, you know, some people could be find it offensive, and you know, you're always, you know, on your IG page, it's these pictures that are out of you at the club, out of you at a party. What is that? Now, who's going to be defining? And then at the background, you're telling people like that don't really know you that you like to sing and you're studious in school and you're an all A student. But what is your brand project out if you're only showing the side I mentioned earlier?
That's the thing about branding. Like, it's a good thing and it's also a bad thing as well. Cause like if you're branding yourself to let people know like, oh, this is what I do, it's not only a hobby, but then you're posting stuff that are offensive and stuff like that, you have to be able to watch out for
your
those.
brand? Does your post define your brand?
It kind of does.
It does. What if you're saying, oh, it's just my IG page or it's just my Facebook page, but on my LinkedIn, I'm suit and tie and I'm very professional. Does Instagram still define your brand?
It does, because it's like you're contradicting yourself.
Exactly. Do you think employers or people that want to do business with you or people that want to admit you to colleges, do you think they only looked at your LinkedIn page or they looked at Facebook and they look at Instagram as well?
Well, my older sister told me that they look at everything. So it doesn't just go from your LinkedIn page.
Exactly. So can you live like this double life where you feel like, oh, it's just my Instagram page and I can put whatever I want there. If I want to show myself partying all the time, if I want to show myself acting up and wilding out, it's okay because it's just Instagram?
No, it's not okay, because at the end of the day, that one picture can cost you that job that you want.
Exactly. So this is what she's saying when she asks like to cultivate your brand and let it be defined on your behalf. So if you're putting all this stuff out there that you don't want people to associate you as your brand, you're letting society define who you are, correct?
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, like okay, like I'm gonna use Siri as an example. If you go to her Instagram page, it's all professional about what she is, what her cause is, what she's working towards, what she's trying to do. There's nothing in there that doesn't fall in line with who she is. And if your Instagram page and your social media there's even one post, like you just said, that does not reflect who you are, then you need to remove it. Agree? Because if not, it goes right back to this saying that Shema says, like, or let it be defined on your behalf. Correct?
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm a control freak, and I don't want anybody to define. Like when you ask people, like, you know, please tell me what you think, who you think I am, what I am. You should already kind of have in your head what you expect people to say. You shouldn't be surprised. Oh, sorry, I have more participants letting. You shouldn't be surprised by somebody's opinion for the most part. I mean, there's people honestly that are going to tell you things that, you know, they may have issues of their own and they're just trying to, you know, vent it on. But in generally, if you ask a group of 10 different people randomly, you can just kind of be aligned with who you are and what you think. That's kind of know when you have it right, you know. So let's continue. Personal branding is a practice of people marketing themselves and their careers as brand. Like, for example, I had a friend, she has her master's in public administration, and she just moved back here from Texas, and she's looking for a job. And she sent her resume out to a recruiter, and the recruiter rudely replied to her and said, "Oh, you're not qualified for this job." And she was going to respond to her in a way to let her she was going to put her in her place. And she read the email back to me. I said, "Why don't you read what you want to say to her and read it out loud and read it to me?" And she's like, she wanted me to know, "Sean, is this email offensive?" I said, "Well, read it to me, read it out loud, because you need to hear it, what you're saying. And then we'll let you decide." So as she couldn't even finish what she was reading without kind of laughing and smirking and realizing herself that it's offensive. Was the recruiter wrong to kind of tell her bluntly she's not qualified for this? Absolutely. The recruiter was rude. She was arrogant. I read what she said to her. It was very offensive. But that doesn't mean you have to respond in an offensive manner. And why do you think I suggested her not to respond to the recruiter in an offensive way? Can anybody help me with that?
You don't want to burn your bridges.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, the recruiter is in a position of power, right? She's the one holding the keys to opportunities and jobs, and not you. You're in a position where and that's what life is. You got to realize where you are, what position you're in. And to me, I told her, just respond to her. Thank you for your constructive criticism. I look forward to hearing you shortly with something that more aligns with my job skills.
Yeah, because you can come back. You can come back and, and then be qualified, would have gotten the training that you need to qualify for the job, and then reapply, and then she could take you. So you just never know. And that's, if you're even open to go back to that position.
Right. And what young people may not realize, and as older people realize, this world is very small. She's in the position of recruiting. You may apply somewhere, you may work with another headhunter, and they know one another. And she may easily forward your response to her. And because I truly take pride in knowing that anything I put out there, especially if I type it or email it, can live out there forever. Like a personal branding thing for myself personally, I've been in the financial literacy space for about 6 years now, if not longer. I've purchased real estate. I have children. I'm a great dad. All these great things, when you Google my name, come up. But last year, I had an incident with JetBlue where basically one of the flight attendants was very rude, and I called her out on it, and I had an incident with JetBlue. And now when you Google my name, and I actually filed a lawsuit against JetBlue for the way I was treated on the flight. But now when you Google my name, that's the first thing that pops up. That's the first thing that pops up based on all the other things I've done. And it was a lady that was being rude to me, and I just addressed her basically. And now when you Google Sean Linda, you'll see JetBlue. And, and I didn't think it through as myself. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know this thing would have this effect, where now push down is other great things that I've done, but up front is the altercation with JetBlue.
That's interesting. That's interesting you brought that up, because there's a guy, really quick. There was a guy, I was watching a news story about this guy. He was so upset because his brother-in-law basically is gay, and he's not, but he was defending him. And so the Chick-fil-A, the company Chick-fil-A, they don't support that pretty much. And the guy that's, was supporting his brother, went to one of the Chick-fil-A, went through the line and pretty much attacked the girl in line, as a cash register, or the cashier. And for no reason, because although he was mad with Chick-fil-A, he should have directed that to the corporation and not to that individual that worked there. Anyway, long story short, the guy lost his job because it went viral, and the guy lost his job. And then he found like all the good things that he did was dismissed just because of this thing. And although he was supporting his brother in the right way, it still backfired, and he found himself without a job for a year.
So that's my point to you, is that even myself, we all have to be very mindful and understand like the world that we're living in, and sometimes, the sad thing is public opinion is your court and jury, right? And good, innocent or not, some people will decide for you, because even through that whole JetBlue thing, and it was funny. Everybody, that you can tell, like, so Fox News had it on, CNN had it on, different news outlets. Everybody from certain liberal stations were like, I can't believe what happened to Sean. I can't believe this happened. I can't believe JetBlue acted in it. But then the right wing news outlets were like, what did he do? How could he have? He had to do something. They couldn't have just acted this way. So, you know, it was judge and jury. So my point is, you really have to understand the world we're living in and try to keep focusing on your brand. And what can I do moving forward to just continue to be who I am? Continue to be who I am, continue to bring positive energy, and know that it'll transition out. So let's talk about.
Somebody asked if there was no social media present. That was David. If there was no social media.
Yeah, I taped the video. I put the video out there of you know, I don't want to waste the whole class on it, but yeah, there was a video, and then we posted the video, and that's where the debate came.
No, he asked, what's the effect of not having a social media present?
What's the effect of, well, you're old school, I would say that. And I think in the time we're living in, I think, sorry, David, I'm multitasking here. Larry's not in. So I think the time that we're living in is that social media presence is just a new way of doing business. I think it's something you have to participate in. I think it's something you have to become a part of. And I think it's more, it does more value than it does harm. I mean, I think you can set yourself up on LinkedIn, which can show, you know, your resume basically. I think like we were talking to Diane earlier, you know, everything is on social media. So if your Facebook page or Instagram page kind of reflects who you are and you position it that way, I think that would only add value to who you are. So
I think on the other hand too is like, if you didn't post a video of what really happened, it would only be your word against their word. So social media also has a part of like showing proof and evidence of what really happened.
Yes,
absolutely.
Love that.
Yeah, but you still have the court of public opinion. People see things in different ways, and
True.
that's the thing about it. That's crazy. How you see it, how you see things is based on your experiences in life and your upbringing. How other people see things is totally different. So you have to understand, you know, and for the people that were kind of from the right side and that had their opinion, you know, I don't judge, and it is not for me to tell them, you know. You just have to understand, you have to stick with your plan, stick with your branding, and keep moving forward. And, you know, throughout life, people are going to continue to judge you and form opinions of you. But you have to know who you are and what you reflect and what you represent. And your social media and your branding has to reflect that, because people are going to judge you, and people are going to listen. You know, I'm not the over religious person, but, you know, for those Christians that are listening to here, hey, they crucified Jesus Christ and hung him on a cross, and I can't be better than him. So you have to understand, everybody is judged. And you have to know that all I can control is what's within me, what I want to project, what I want to put out there, you know, the energy that I want to put. That's all you control. The opinions that people form of you after your project is their opinion, and everybody has a right to an opinion. But you can't let it get to you to the point that it's going to take you off your course of action. Okay, David, you asked because you don't have any online presence whatsoever. Well, I think it's important, we all can agree. Who can agree? Let's give David the thumbs up that we think he needs to create a social presence, an online presence. If anybody disagrees, let me know. But I think, my personal opinion, my experience, David, I think it's something that you need to create for yourself and brand yourself. And you're good, you're fresh, you're new, and you can, because people are going to be looking. I think people would find it more of not the norm that you don't have a social media presence. I'd be like, who is this guy? Why doesn't he have a social media presence?
I think Warren Buffett said, if you're not on social media, then you're just not. He said something really like bad, but he was like, yo, like you're stupid, pretty much. Like you're not, and not to call you stupid, David, but that's what he said. Like if you're in business and you're not on social media, you're not relevant, right? And so that's why.
Well, let me break it down another way. What for people to be successful in business, you have to adapt and change to your current environment.
Yes.
Right. And if you have to continue to evolve, like people like myself, people like Sierra, we're continuing to evolve. Like, you know, you have to continue to push yourself. Like, you know, when I was in college, I used to throw a lot of parties. I used to hand out flyers, and I'd be outside classes, whatever, giving people flyers to my event. Well, that's not I wouldn't be able to pack a house doing it in today's world. I'd have to be connected with social media. I'd have to be able to email, blast people to let them know of my event. If I was still the guy handing out flyers, then I have a problem. Like, okay, perfect example. A guy came into my store yesterday, and I've known this guy. He's been coming to my store for at least 10, 15 years. And, you know, he got upset at me because I would just support him. He sells CDs, music CDs, reggae music CDs. And today in 2020, he's still selling CDs. And I said to him, do you think your product is relevant to today's market? And he got upset, and he got upset. So he came into my store yesterday because they had some customers in my store trying to sell CDs. And they looked at him like he was crazy. And one guy gave him the $5 for a CD just to say, let me just support you. And he left the CD on my table at my store because it has no purpose. So my point is, if you're not evolving, and his pitch was Spotify and iTunes don't have the latest music, he has the latest music. And people once again looked at him like, this dude is crazy. So if you have to evolve, the market is saying right now, social media is where people see who you are and see who your presence. And I think it would do you a disservice if an employer or a school cannot find anything on social media. I think the person that would have a stronger social media presence may take priority over you.
The other thing is really quick, and not to take over the conversation, social media allows you to build your followers, your supporters, right? So if you decide one day to start a business, those people, you already have a loyal fan base that will support you, right? But if you don't have any presence on social media, or people don't know about you besides the people you have in your network, then it's going to be harder to get sales or to sell your service. So that's just something also to keep in mind.
And one thing that Benjamin said in the chat, which I think is wonderful, it sums it up. Like, you can pick your platform. Like, yeah, you can decide, I only want to be on LinkedIn. I only want to be on Instagram. I only want to be on Facebook, which is great. You know, if you don't want to be like in the really like back and forth messaging part, no, LinkedIn can give you a professional setting and to let people know, like, hey, you know, I'm not into the Instagram, the Facebook, and the TikTok, but my professional status is right there for you on LinkedIn. So I think that is great advice. So let's go back to the slides. How do you create a personal branding statement? Okay. And now I think these are things that when you're creating your personal brand, it's something that it's ongoing. You know, it doesn't have to be so fixated, meaning that you have to, if a year from now you see that you're changing, you're evolving, oh, I got to go back to my original personal branding statement from a year ago. No, this is something that you're constantly evolving, but it's a reminder of what you stand for, who you reflect. So every person you meet, every hand you shake, elbow bump that you do, every email that you send out, every post, every DM, it reflects your brand. And so the things that you should be looking at is, what are your values? You know, what do you believe in? What are you strong about? What are your interests? What are your beliefs, your ethos? What are your skill sets? What do you do better than most people? And now I asked the important question a while ago to a friend. I said, should you be in the field that you're good at, or should you be in the field that you're passionate at? Because sometimes your passion doesn't align with your skills. You know, if my passion is, you know, when I was younger, I mean, I loved basketball, and, you know, I would have loved to be playing in the NBA. That was my passion, but my skills reflected something totally different. My skills reflected that, hey, I'm good in business. I'm good at quickly thinking. I can see an opportunity and I can size it up right away and see where, if we can make money or lose money on it. So I realized I was more a business guy. Even when I worked in corporate, you know, when I worked on Wall Street, I worked for Chase, American Express, I realized like the corporate setting was challenging for me. It was not, I didn't see myself becoming the next CEO of a major company. And to me, if I couldn't reach the very pinnacle, then that's not a direction I wanted to go in. I said, you know, it's better I do entrepreneurial things. Because like I said, in college, I threw parties, did all kinds of different things. And I think I was always successful at doing those things. So it took me a while to realize that my skills is in entrepreneurialism and kind of seeking opportunities. My passion is basketball. So the question comes again, you know, you have to ask yourself, and it's really having an honest conversation with yourself. what are my skills? And for like the LeBron James, the Tiger Woods, they're the fortunate few where their skills, I think, align with their passion. I would think that, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe LeBron's passion is not basketball, but if you can align both, God bless you. But you always have to be real with yourself. So maybe sometimes your passion may not align with your skills. Your skills may give you the best return on your investment. But I think what can happen if you're patient with yourself, you can segue where you can kind of marry your skills and your passion down the road. But initially, you may just want to take advantage of the skills that you have to build that, you know, financial security. And then as you get older in life, say, okay, now I'm going to now, you know, more go align with my passion is not so much about the money because I've set myself up already. Does that make sense? Everybody with me?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So you have to ask yourself, these personal branding things are about for you to dig deep in your inner soul. These things are going to make you successful and give you what we talk about in financial literacy, that life that you choose for yourself, that nobody else can choose for you. You choose for yourself. And like I said, building your personal brand is an investment in you. It's a direct investment in you where you are going to receive the benefits. And so many people go through life and do not figure out their personal brand. It gets back to the initial statement where it's like, you're letting people define who you are. Okay, next slide. Go ahead, Jeff.
Mention something here with branding. As many of us grow and become more mature, we look back at what we may have posted, like you said, in the past and find it to be something that could hold us back, whether in a corporate setting or in a business setting. There is a thing called the right to be forgotten. So you may be able to take segment of stuff you've posted and have it removed from all social media. This is done in Europe, and right now it's being discussed to be done here. All right, so that is something for people who have made mistakes, posted the wrong things, and now realize, you know, what can I do to take these things out of the internet so everyone can't see it? So there's a thing called the right to be forgotten, and that will allow you to take some of the things that you posted and remove them, or to take yourself totally out of social media. And if you're rebranding yourself, you've matured, you see where you're going, you have more focus, you have great ideas now. All the stupid stuff you might have done before, now you have a chance to redo it again.
Does that also include like maybe possible negative things that people might have said about you that weren't true?
I can't speak on that. That it may only look at what you personally put up yourself.
Okay.
So I don't fully say I understand all of it, but I know in Europe they have something where if a person does not want to stay on social media, they have the right to be forgotten and everything is wiped.
That's something interesting because I'm going to share that with my client, but I was also thinking, does that also have to do with, do you have to pay for that service?
Not in Europe. Based on what I understand, it's a right that you have. And here you may have to pay for it under certain companies that try to market that. So I think in San Francisco, they may have put that under some legislation form to give you that right. But as of New York City, I don't know if it's here yet.
Thanks for sharing.
But I would say to you, you know, everybody that's listening in, you know, personal branding starts with, you know, confidence and believing in yourself and putting it out there. Like for me, if I'm going to do something and I'm working towards something, I have no problem putting that energy out there. I have no fear of somebody stealing my idea because I want to put that energy out there. I want to talk about it. I want the universe to hear what I want to do and to see how receptive they are and understand what I need to do and get the feedback. So to me, you know, and not being scared. Like I've come up with so many different ideas and things that people were like, wow, really? That's what you, and it's like maybe beyond people's scope. Like that is such a big initiative. And to me, I don't have a problem putting a big initiative out there and telling people this is where I want to do, this is what I want to do. And if I don't get there, that's no problem. I mean, I don't feel a way about, you know, people, I'm very open to constructive criticism, as I think you all should be. And I take it in, and it doesn't mean if someone says something to me insulting or that I find offensive, I'm gonna hit them back with something offensive. I just take it in and I say everybody has a right to opinion. That's what I have in my head. And I think you should go through life with understanding that not everybody's gonna be a fan of Sean, but you know, I have more people that I think believe in me and I can depend on than not. And that's just how you have to look at things, and not be scared to put yourself out there and get opinions and really achieve what you want to do in life. So personal branding is to create a vision for your future. Implementing that vision can lead to better jobs, better contacts, better clients for your company, industry recognition, and so much more. So I want somebody to tell me, why do you think that it will lead to that? Why do you think branding yourself or having a vision will lead to all of this? To sum it up, why do you think that is true?
Because everything starts with every business that's ever been built started with an idea, which is a vision. So if you don't have a vision, you don't have if you don't have a vision, all you have is an idea. And
right.
like you have to put that vision / idea into reality. You have to
what if you come at a vision like, oh, you know, I want to start my own company, but I don't really know. I don't know if I'm ready. What do you think? I want to make, you know, I want to make these 3D type glasses, and I don't know what people are going to think about them, but, you know, I'm thinking about doing my own company. I'm thinking about, but, you know, will it really work? Well, I've thought about it, and, you know, I don't know. How does that sound? What are you putting out to the universe when you talk like that?
Negativity. Like you don't know what you want to do, basically.
With that person that you're telling this to, the people that you're speaking to, are they going to believe in you? Are they going to want to be like part of something like that?
No, they're not going to believe in you because you don't believe in yourself.
Exactly. But if you said it now, listen, I think that 3D sunglasses is a new thing. I've done my research. Studies show that people are tired of the one-dimensional lens. The 3D lens, it reduces light. It helps them see better. It gets a better vision. It's almost like corrective eye surgery with the glasses. This is what my plan is. And I've looked at my competitors, and here's what I'm going to do. How does that sound? Raphael, are you there with me? Hello? You guys hear me?
Yeah, I feel like that sounds so much better.
Does it sound like I'm confident? I know what I'm doing?
Yeah, it's like you've done your research on what you want to sell and who, and like you said, who your competitors are and what you can do better, what they're not doing. So it kind of gets you like people to be like, okay, he knows what he's talking about. Like we believe in him, you know, like you believe in yourself.
Right. How does my confidence sound?
On 100.
Exactly. And that's what people gravitate to, people with confidence and that can back up what they're saying. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Even when I teach this program, you know, I teach it with real life examples, good and bad, correct? Hello, correct? Yes, correct?
Correct.
Right. And Jeff, good and bad. Siri, good and bad. Because the point is like, I believe in, you know, you also lead by example, and then I'll say a point and I'll drive it home, the message home with a real life example, so that you guys understand how practical it is, how it can be used, right? And I think that's the key to like any type of situation where you're really gonna say what you're saying with confidence, but you're gonna back it up with some kind of something that's real, you know, not quote unquote the fake news that we've been hearing a lot of on TV. But some people that even deliver a fake news, they deliver such confidence, it almost seems believable. And you have to kind of take a step back. Where do you start? We mentioned this before: LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. These are all great ways to start building your brand. You know, this is stuff that I've said already. Engage your industry online by posting relevant content. And you know, if you go to my Instagram page, do I have some personal stuff there fun? Of course I do. You know, everything is not business 101, but there's nothing that I believe would put me in a negative light. Something where like people are gonna like look at that. Why would he say that, or how would he say it? Because I don't want to be judged like that. Creating a personal website. participating in chat forums and meetups. So these are great. They're all over the, I mean, I know Eventbrite, you can go on there and you can join different meetings, different groups, real estate, tech, whatever you're into. And just instead of having to take the 4 train, take this train to get there, you're just there right in the room, having a conversation with like-minded people. Constantly manage your social media and emails and send emails. Another important thing, how you write and articulate yourself is a reflection of you. And I always say, you know, my secret is everything I email and send out, for the most part, I'll read it out loud. If you read things out loud, you find your mistakes, you're able to correct them. And, you know, I don't assume if, you know, informal conversation, it's not a bad thing when people kind of break it down. Like, I think like Benjamin and I, we've had a relationship now for like 3 years, right, Ben? Probably a little bit more, if not longer. And I can tell you, you know, as much as Ben and I are professional, I think we can have somewhat of a little bit informal conversation and it would still be okay. But we had to build to there. And I always say, I'm not the first to be informal. If I'm having a conversation with you, I'm going to stay as professional as I can until you become, if you choose to go become informal, then maybe I will then loosen up a little. But I don't want to assume that who I'm speaking to is okay with having an informal type conversation. Does anybody know that, just to be clear, does anybody understand the difference between the informal and formal conversations? Elizabeth, I already went to you. Did I go to you again? Maxine, do you know the difference between informal and formal conversation?
I cannot say that I do.
Okay, I love your honesty. Okay, let's give you an example of a formal conversation. Maxine, how are you?
I'm well, and how are you?
I'm well. How's business?
So far, it's doing great.
What opportunities are you looking for?
I am looking for management positions and looking for to bring some people onto my team as well.
Is there anything that I can help to assist you with that?
Well, let's see, what do you, in the way of management and management capital, as far as human capital, what is your expertise?
I have expertise in human capital and I have expertise in just general capital. But you see the conversation, that's formal, right? Let's go to informal. Let's go to informal. Hey, what's going on?
What's good?
What's good? I heard you doing this. I heard you got this little thing going on, and how can I become part of that, yo?
Well, let me see. About after 5:30, you can hit me up then.
I can hit you up. Okay, bet.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna let my people know about what you're doing. All right, and I'm gonna get back to you. You know, I'll DM you.
Cool. I appreciate it.
You see, a little informal, but you went there with me. You see, you went there with me, which was good. Like, maybe shows you're comfortable. But imagine I initiate a call like that, and you're not expecting that.
Right. Okay.
I can tell your personality. You are okay with that.
Yes.
But you don't know your audience if they're going to be okay with that. You're
True.
assuming that everybody's okay with that. You floated well. We flowed well. I think we could have got the same results, formal and informal, with you, but not everybody looks at it in that way.
You know what's interesting, Sean? I like that example, but it's interesting because like now, and I think once you get more familiar with your network or the people, your supporters, or even more comfortable in your space, the more informal you can be, or you feel like you can be. So for instance, I'll give you an example, not even using myself, but the budgetnista, right? So how she approaches her audience, and she has a huge audience. She's very informal. She's like, yo, what's up? Or she's like, yo, she's like, yeah, how y'all, or thank y'all, whatever, I can't remember the slogan but it's very informal. It's very like, wow, this girl, but she has a huge following. Like, I mean, like people from all walks of life are in her network. And I think it's because she's approachable. So it really depends on what industry you're in, and even like what you're looking to accomplish.
Let me just say this. So that's a different dynamic where she has an active audience. She's building a lot of it. She's more of an entertainment. She's finance. But I can tell you, if she's going into a meeting looking for sponsors, looking for people, like if she's going into a meeting where she has to be the one with the ask, where she's going in to meet with Chase, Payne Weber, and asking her to sponsor her or to partner with her, I guarantee you she has to go in a professional setting.
Right.
If you're growing your brand and who you want to create your brand to be, and this is her niche, then that's fine. But it's more like with my podcast, you know, our huge following is built off the fact that we make financial literacy easy to understand. But there's still a point of me if I'm meeting with, like, LinkedIn sponsored some of my events. I can't have like an unprofessional meeting with LinkedIn. It's just not, you know, you got to know your audience, know where you're going and the direction you're going. But I wouldn't stop the Budgetnista from what she's doing to attract an audience. But I'm talking more or less in a professional setting.
A business meeting. Got it.
Correct. Does everybody understand that? Good comment, series. Everyone understand? Because I think that really makes the message even clearer what I was trying to say.
Understood.
Okay. Wonderful.
Example, just add something real quick before we move on. Another example is when, like, for example, I'm upstate. I need to have credit provided for me through hardware stores in the area. I don't want to rely just on one store. So I might have an account and with Lowe's. I may also have an account, which I do with Ace hardware store. So I call up Ace, I speak to whoever handles the account, I explain who I am in a very professional manner. And once they see, oh, you do have the building, we know where it's at because it's a small conservative area, they give me a line of credit. And as long as my relationship with them, as far as paying it, it's good, we have a great business relationship.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah.
So let's go on to the next slide. 7 tips to writing a strong personal brand statement. And I think this is something that you should really sit down with yourself. You know, you have to love yourself. You have to take the time to be with you and understand, like, I am my best friend, you know? So this is something where you got to sit down, relax, take a breath, be honest, have a cup of tea, do what you got to do to get yourself in that Zen mode, and sit down and write, what are your attributes? Find 2 things that separate you from your competitor, that make you unique. And everybody has one. Everybody has one. You guys all have it. So find 2 attributes that make you unique, if not more. Then choose an audience where you think your skills are most useful. And once again, keeping it, as they say, as an informal way, keeping it 100 with yourself. Where are your skill sets most useful, and what will yield the highest return? And meaning what will yield the highest return, look over these industries and figure out what industry matches my skill set that can pay me the money that I'm looking for. I can build to that. And like I said, passion and skills are 2 different things. If they align with each other, beautiful. They may not. Okay, I own real estate. I have tenants. I'm not a fan of tenants. I mean, I love my tenants, don't get me wrong, but the day-to-day management of tenants, I'm sure Jeff can agree, is a lot of stress. So you have to really make sure your passion, you understand your skills versus your passion. Be honest with yourself. Don't lose phrases like, I'm the best, you know, unless you truly are. But, you know, understand, it's also being honest with yourself, like not being the best, something makes you realize where you need to work on and where you need to get better. And one thing, you know, part of the reason why I moved to New York City, because I always said, if I can do well in New York, I can do well anywhere, like the cliche says, but there's always somebody that's a step ahead of you in New York City. That's what I love about New York. You think you're here, you'll walk down the street, a guy will meet you in ripped jeans, ripped t-shirt, and he's at a whole different level than you are. And it just makes me work harder. New York City I love because there's always somebody that can mentor you, that's doing something on the next level that you can even imagine. Make it memorable. Your brand statement should be something that, you know, you can remember easily and people around you can remember easily. Like the projection should be like something that's memorable. Make sure your self-impression is consistent with other people's impressions of you. Ask your personal friends how best to describe you. You know, get feedback, get people, because you may not, like, I know sometimes I can be short. And, you know, I need my friends like Jeff, Siri to tell me like, hey, Sean, you know, you need to check yourself today. And, you know, so, you know, your people around you, your circle, you should ask them, you know, honestly, what do you think of me? What are things you think I should work on? and just take it in. And if you think it's applicable to you, then work. It's a self-improvement thing. We talked about marketing yourself. And then we even talked about stay updated. Like, I mean, your personal brand should be revised at least once a year. Like, if your personal brand is the same as it was a year or 2 years ago, then you're not doing the exercise correctly. You should always be updating, because different things like COVID came, the pandemic came, your direction should change. Where you want to go, how you want to reposition yourself, because we're in a pandemic. We have to see where the new opportunities that lie. Always show confidence. So important. Confidence will take you so far. Not arrogance, there's a difference, but confidence will take you so far. And confidence comes with knowing your business, doing your homework, not just speaking off the top of your head, like I'm always trying to stay current with financial literacy, because I don't want somebody to ask me a question that I really can't answer, and I'm stuck and I'm lost for words, and I say, I don't know. So because I'm in this industry, I'm always trying to stay abreast of what's going on, keeping in the loop, understanding my business, understanding my audience. From this section, I've learned so much just teaching this class once again, because things are changing, things are evolving. We had to redo the format of the course because of recognizing the current state of the economy where we're in. If Jeff and I were teaching the same class that we taught 2 years ago, we wouldn't be current. Right or wrong, Jeff? We can't teach the same thing we taught 2 years ago, because everything has evolved. Things have changed so much. So to stay current, Jeff and I meet at the beginning of every session and say, like, where are we now? What do we need to change in this upcoming program? Because this is where the world is today. Even when we teach this back again, another class in January, things are going to be changing, and we're going to have to adjust the program to accommodate to evolving. Effective networking during COVID. See, this is an adjustment. Exactly what I talked about. Warm contact versus second and third degree contacts. So I think the point of this is, you have to keep your contacts warm. You have to continue to grow that reach. Even in these participants, if there's somebody in this participant that you felt was giving great answers, was adding value, someone's nice, I would say, that's somebody that you could reach out to. That's somebody you may be able to form a relationship with. This is how it's done in the new world. I wasn't even a fan. I felt it so odd, where people directly DM me and want to create some kind of relationship, business relationship, and so forth. I had to get used to the fact this is the new world that I'm living in. My world was more face-to-face, handshake type world growing up, but it's no longer that world. It's the world of, hey, I may meet you I may like what you're posting on Instagram, and I'm going to reach out and say hi to you. And I shouldn't find that weird. People on Facebook have reached out to me. I shouldn't find that intrusion of my space. So you have to look and see hey, be receptive to these things.
It's also really quick. So I'll give you a story. Basically, I reached out to Hill Harper, who is now my good friend, via DM on Instagram. So you have a lot of access to people that you probably wouldn't normally have access to. Some of them may be celebrities, and some of them may be, influencers in their own right. But I think using DMs is a very powerful tool to get access to people that you probably wouldn't normally get access to in a face-to-face environment.
Exactly.
I want to just reiterate that we're moving up to the 5-minute mark on the class.
Oh wow. Okay. A non-intrusive way is sharing articles. I think that's a great way, sharing things, not over. I think you should also respect people's places, because I got people that will just share their breakfast meal on a WhatsApp message and share what they had for lunch. And sometimes I think it comes a little bit overbearing. So I think you should be mindful of people's space, but I think sharing information, sharing things is a great way to network and grow your reach. Virtual happy hours. I know people started doing that in the beginning, a lot of the pandemic. I don't know how much they're continuing, but it's something you can do with your friends. With some of my friends I went to school with, we try to get together once a month in a group chat and so forth. I think it's a lot of fun. Video conference etiquette. Dress to impress. Control video and audio quality. I'm just going to read through them because I want to get through the SMART goals and no shame in your game. All right. Adjust your lighting. Think about video backgrounds. Practice speaking to the camera, not the screen. Get the right angle on your screen. Be mindful of your actions on camera. These are things that I constantly have to work on. I'm horrible when it comes to video conference. That's why sometimes I don't turn the video on, because I can never get the alignment just right. How Jeff is centered perfect and everything is perfect with his alignment. I'm still trying to work to get there. Let's get into SMART goals. Make sure your goals are specific, meaning like well-defined. They're measurable. How do you, sometimes people have goals and I don't know what their measurement is of success. Like, what makes this goal successful? What are the key metrics that'll make you say, oh, I've achieved my goal? Make sure it's attainable. Make sure it's relevant, it's current in today's market. And make sure it's timely. And if something is a big goal, like, you know, I wanna be an astronaut and be one of the first one. I want to be able to go to the moon. Okay, you got to break that goal up in sections. All right, like, one, I want to get into engineering at MIT. 2, I want to get a job at NASA. 3, I want to move up and become this position at NASA. 4, I want to get this position. Make them like break up that goal and make small measurable goals in between there to achieve your final goal. Now, we're on No Shame in Your Game, and these are our tips to help you live a clean life, all right? Identify your gift or dream. Continue to write down your goals. Stay open-minded to constructive criticism. Align yourself with the right people. As you can see, like my small circle of friends, like Mr. 850 here, are all people that, you know, to me, bring me positive energy all the time. Stay on your path to success. There's a thing that we call life. And, you know, I'll tell you, most people that don't achieve their success is because they'll have something that happens to them in life that'll throw them off their path and they never get back on. And you got to understand, we're all going to get thrown off our path. I get thrown off mine all the time, but I'm always of the mindset I need to get back on. Failure doesn't even exist. It's just learning. All right, I should even change it. Failure is a great learning tool. There's no such word as failure. It's just learning. What I mentioned earlier, chip away at things. Have very thick skin, because with success comes criticism. The higher you go, the more you achieve, the more the critics come out the corner. It's up for you to have that confidence that we talked about and that mindset that I am set to achieve and I'm going to achieve. Remove your emotions. We talked about the example with my friend. Remove your options, remove your emotions, and never close the door. You don't know how or when you'll be able to leverage that door. Don't burn any bridges. Deal with a sense of integrity, pride, integrity, confidence, who you are, respect yourself, love yourself immensely. Focus is an acronym. Follow one course until successful. Keep going, keep going. Be a trailblazer and set paths for others to follow. You know, this is all about generational wealth, leaving something behind, understanding that you are setting examples. There's people that you don't even realize that are watching you and looking up to you and mimicking and trying to do what you want to do.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's the program. I hope I didn't feel rushed or anything like that. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody want to leave any comments? And like I said, constructive criticism, I'm okay with. We have like 2 minutes. Anyone?
One thing it's Brandon here. One thing that I really do enjoy that I like said for a long time is do not, especially in high school and stuff like that. This is very common in high school. Little things like this, small things, not big thing, but it's like do not burn bridges. You don't know how many times it's just funny to me listening like, you just burnt that bridge with that teacher, didn't you? Oh, okay. All right, you haven't in a year. Good luck with that. It's made me laugh.
And I've had to leverage professors and teachers from high school and college as an adult. Like I went back and taught at my university, the university I went to school at. And it was because they followed me on Facebook, saw the great things that I was doing. I had a great relationship with my professors, and they're like, "We want you to come back to the university," and they paid me to come back and teach financial literacy. So building those solid foundational relationships is very important. Anybody else?
I want to add something before we leave, Sean, to all the people who participated in this class. This is a great beginning as you enter the vehicle of the question. The question is, where do you want to go? And it's your life plan that we're helping you focus on, and it never ends. I'm still working on my life plan because I'm at another stage in my life, as well as Sean's at a different stage. So where do you choose to go, whether you hitch your wagon to someone else's plan temporarily, or you decide to trailblaze on your own? You have enough tools from this class to refocus your attention on things that will bring you where you want to go much faster.
I just wanted to also add that, you know, sometimes in the beginning of your whatever journey that you're on, people may not believe it, but as long as you believe it, that's what matters. And after a while, even when you're posting on social media, you may not get the following or the support that you think you should get because of your idea, but keep going, because there are people that are watching you. And after a while, they'll come out and say, you know what, wow, you really inspired me. Initially, they may not, because, you know, they're just still trying to figure out who you are. But trust me, later on, you'll start to be rewarded by just how you're inspiring people, but just even the rewards that you're getting from doing what you're doing. So just keep going and keep your eye on the prize.
Exactly. So here's what you owe me. We're going to send out a survey and complete our survey. Follow us on social media so you see what's going on. Listen to our podcast. Everything we talked about is in episodes of our podcast. And leave a review, please. A 5-star review is always appreciated. and tell friends about our program, about Clean, and you know what you thought about it. Let Benjamin know you liked it and you didn't like it. What you have to, you know, just keep us there and just push our initiative, what we're trying to do forward. Because I think, you know, what we're trying to do is make sure that everybody is financially literate. Everybody understands their goals. Everybody understands, you know, branding, and so everybody can achieve success. And pass on what you learn. Share. You know, important thing is what we do, and Jeff and I do, and even Siri, we try to share. You know, sharing is important. So please continue to share this information and share your learnings. All right. And I thank you all again for being part of this for the last 7 weeks, and I hope one day to physically meet all of you. All right.
Thank you so much, Sean, for everything.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Stay safe,
Thank you, guys.
everyone.